Hi guys, this is Hyman, and in this video we'll be talking about 5 basic data types in Java. Continuation on our last video, and we talked about strings the last time out, and now we'll be talking about integers in Java. So as we know, we're using our Jvdroid as our IDE for running our basic Java programs. And as you can know, IDE is an integrated development environment, and we can also say it's a software application that helps programmers develop software code efficiently. And I'm sure we should be familiar with the app already. As we can see, we should be familiar with the apps already. We can share our codes, our lines of codes, our program. We can share it here. So stuff like we can also set some the editor, the appearance, the system, and all. So we have this default font. Okay, let's do some editing. Let's check on the appearance, and let's increase the font size to about 18 to give a clearer vision, which we can see now. So in this video, as I told you guys, we'll be talking about integers in Java. So we still have 3 left to go in this chapter of 5 basic data types in Java. So as you can see, I stated here, I said an integer in Java is a memory location that can hold an integer, a positive or negative non-decimal number. It is denoted by the keyword int, as you can see. So we'll be writing some few basic codes using integer, and I also want us to know that integers, they are numbers. We can also say integers integers are numbers without 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 fractional component, and we can say and they don't they do not support decimal points. I'm sure we can see. So we have here, we said an integer in Java is a memory location that can hold an integer, a positive or negative non-decimal number, and it is denoted by the keyword int. And we also said integers are numbers without fractional components, and they do not support decimal points. So moving on, and I can also state for the difference between integer, Java int, and integer types. Like integers, like integer types is that is simply, it represents a whole number, and it has additional properties and methods, while the int is one of the Java's 8 primitive types. You understand? So, and why the integer wrapper class, the word integer, let me state it here. The word integer, when we use the word integer while writing our Java program, it means it's a primitive data type. It's a primitive data type, and so it's a wrapper class. The int is the primitive, is a wrapper class. Wrapper class the wrapper class is a wrapper class, and is one of the 100 components that we have in the Java API. You understand? So in the Java API, we have the HTTP, we have the JPA, which is the Java Persistence API. We're not going much into that, and we also have the XML. We also have JavaScript in the Java API, and we also have the non-blocking IO. So moving on from that, the word int, when you're using it in your Java program, is actually a primitive type. It's a primitive data type. You understand? So it's a primitive data type. Is one. I think we have 8 primitive data types in Java. So it is one of the 8 we have. No, we're talking about integers in this video, so we are not going to be going much into other aspects of data types in Java. So in the next video, we'll be talking about characters, but in this video, we're talking about integers alone. So, and we have naming conventions, as you can see it. I stated here, we have the Pascal naming conventions and we have the Camel naming conventions in naming our data types. Did you get? So let's start now with writing a code. Let's start with writing codes using an integer. So first, we are going to say integer. We're going to just, let's say int, and let's call it my age, and let's say my age is 19, and let's say int. Let's just leave it int. So the next thing we're going to do now is to implement our system.out, our print line statement, and we will call out the my age variable. So we're going to call out the my age variable. We will say my, I'm sure we see here that I'm using the camel naming convention for a variable name. So I'm saying my age, and a semicolon is always very important in Java. So now let's run our code. So it says there's an error in it. Let's call it int. I think there's a mistake in the integer function. There's a mistake in the data type. It's supposed to be in lower cases. So now let's run our code, and I'm sure we can see here we have 19. The age we stated in the my age. So the figure we stated in my age is 19. So integers actually, there's another thing I want us to know. Integers actually they can allow up to 4 bytes. Integers allows up to 4 bytes of code. So that's all. I'm sure we can see now we already have our integer, and we have the print line statement to call out the value we have given to the my age. Do you understand? So there are a lot of things we can also use integers for. We can use them for numbers. You can use them for numbers and nothing more. You understand? Either a negative one or a positive one. So now let's make the 19 negative. Let's give it negative and let's run. I'm sure we can see it's giving us minus 19. So now let's add some more interactivity into our code. So let's say here before the print line statement of the age, and let's say my age. Let's say my age is, let's call out a system, because we are not using strings. We can actually use a string to print out a particular message. You understand? As like we said in the last video, strings allow textual data, but here an integer does not support textual data. So here we are only going to be using numbers, figures, as you can know. So let's speak out on the system print line statement. Let's say system dot out the print line, and let's say my you will actually putting it in a textual data, which is the double quote. My age is let's just say, hi guys, this is Hyman. Subscribe, like, and comment. Is let's just say let's just say let's say my age is, and let's put a column. Let's put a space in it. So what is going to give us here is that it's going to give us our age. So let's remove the negativity in the 19. You understand? So, and we can also concatenate here inside where we stated it, but let's run this first. So it says an error. It says an error, a semicolon expected. So let's add the semicolon and let's run. And it says my age is, and now I'm sure we can see there is a mistake in the code. It says my age is, and after that, after the colon, it goes on the next line to show the value we have stated in the my age function. So let's go back to our code. Let's go back to our code. Let's go back to our code. Let's go back to our code, and we remove this print line statements. We can just use the print statement so that it can, okay, let's just leave it this way, but let's remove it from the function and the system message we have. The my age is, let's just remove the ln that is after the print. So the ln is actually moving to next line. So anytime you are using print line statement in Java, you know the next value or the next code the program is going to read, the IDE is going to read, the compiler is going to read, is going to start on the next line. So let's remove the ln statement and let's run, and we see the difference. I'm sure we can see it says my age is 19 on the same line. So that's what ln means when you are using the system.out.print statement. You understand, to call out your variable names. You understand, and note, when you are naming your variables, you should use something real enough for any other programmer to be able to read your code. You understand? I'm sure you can see I stated here my age. You understand? And I use the camel naming convention. So when you're using the camel naming convention, you should be able to use something your reader or anyone can understand. You understand? So now I'm saying my age. So I named it my age. I cannot just say number 1 and I'll just say my age is 19. You understand? So I said my age for another programmer to be able to read the code efficiently and all. So there's another way we can actually move on to the next line. So let's try to add something here. Let's say you will actually use a /n. You understand? So instead of the ln after the print statement, we just say /n. You understand? So it's going to move on. Let's just check for if there's going to be. I'm sure we can see it says my age is, and it moves to the next line, 19. I'm sure we can see the /n also works as the next line in Java. So it works as next line in Java. It works as next line. So let's just, I'm recommending the ln. I prefer it, but when you're having a very long textual data and you don't want everything to be compounded, you can just use the next line statement, because let's say you're having a textual data in one system dot print statement. You understand, and it's not just a question. Maybe it's not an output, but You understand? You can just use the next line statement to break them at each segment. You understand? So let's just try to divert into some other ways we can use integers in Java. We can just say you can just say let's say let's just say int and let's say our age, and let's say equals to, let's just give it a value of about 30, and we say that, or let's just say our age equals to my age. You understand? So let's call the variable name after the my age. So we're saying int our age equals to my age. So now we are not going to print out the my age anymore. We are going to be printing out the our age, because our age is equals to my age. So let's print out our age and let's see what it gives us. Make the print line statement because we want it to be on the same line. So let's run. I'm sure we can see it says my age is 19. So that is just another way you can write integers in Java. You understand? Do you understand? So this is another way we can write integers in Java, by just changing the variable names and giving it the exact name or a different name in another integer section. So that is that and that. And another thing we can do with integer is like we can add. You understand? We can add. We can sum up numbers. So let's just comment this part out. Let's comment this part out. And let's comment this part out. I'm sure we already know how single line comments work. It's just with a double forward slash on the line of code you want to comment. So if you are doing a multi-line comment, then you know you are using the forward slash with the asterisks at the beginning and at the end of your text. You understand? So it's going to pick out a lot of lines. I'm sure we can see here it's picking out about 3 lines together where we use the multi-line comment. You understand? So that is that on that. So let's comment that out, and let's comment this part out also. And let's say int, and let's just call it my score, and let's give it a value of 100, and let's add a semicolon. Or let's just say my score. I said we're adding, let's just say 50 plus 50. Let's just say let's give it this way. And now we're going to be calling the my score. So let's say system dot out dot print line. Let's just say a print line doesn't really affect much. So let's comment this part out of our age print line. I should have copied that to save us from typing other stuff, but it skipped my mind. So let's say my score, and we had a semicolon here. So now let's run. I'm sure we can see it gives us 100. I'm sure we can see. So now to add more interactivity into it, we can just define the way we said for the age section there. We can just define, we can say system dot out dot print line. Yeah, let's just use the print because we are trying to get it attached. We are trying to get it attached to the score. So let's say print, and we open our bracket, and we hope we know we're trying to add the textual data where we use our double quotes, and we say my score is, you understand, and let's put let's put, yeah, a colon and a space. White spaces count in Java. White spaces count in Java. So I'm sure we did that in the last video or using strings. We already know what white spaces are and they count on the index form. You understand? So now let's print out my score and let's see what it's going to give us. I'm sure we can see it says my score is 100 and it's on the same line. The reason why it's giving us on the same line is because we are using the print function, the print statement to call out our value in my score. So that is another way we can write integers in Java. We can use them for several things, for additions, for multiplications. And let's try to copy this. Let's try to copy this. Let's try to copy this. And let's just say um let's say instead of my score, let's say let's put it here 50 plus 50. This is a textual data, so it's not going to be working as a function. Let's say equals to. So this is a textual data, and now we call out the my score, or let's just call it, let's just leave it as my score. And now let's run our program. So I'm sure we can see it says 50 plus 50 equals 100. And do you know why it's giving us 50 plus 50 instead of my score? Is because we changed the value in the textual data. We changed it to 50 plus 50. So it's going to be coming out as a textual data, not as a function. But the first part here that we have the integer and my score is going to be coming out as a function because Java, this IDE and every other Java IDE would recognize would recognize the plus sign. You understand? So that is another way we can write integers in Java. So that is all on that, and we also have another way. We can just use multiplication, subtraction, and division. So it's going to be giving us and we can use this for a multiplication table and the rest. And we can also use it as a calculator, and that is when we import our scanner and we import some other utilities. But this is the basic way of writing integers in Java. You understand? So this is a way of writing integers in Java. So that is all on this video. You can comment, like, and subscribe. We'll see you in the next video where we'll be talking about characters. Bye for now.